Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We are in Amrutanubhava, chapter 7, OV number 241. So in this way, when Jnaneshwar Maharaj is telling in the 240th OV, whether expressing as the seer or the seen, there is nothing other than the Atma. When a person comes to abide in that Atma, then he does not see or try, he does not run away from the seer and the seen. He takes the seen also as the seen, that is the whole world, as nothing but I, and all the roles that he is playing, that also is I alone. But he is not attached to any one of them. Then for such a person, even if there is difficulties, persecution, people abusing or disregarding or not respecting or insulting, such a person doesn't make any comment. Why? Because everyone and everything is nothing but I. So there is no commentary. There is only unconditional love towards the whole world. Why? We are using the word world, but for them it is the self alone. Just like we use the words various limbs of the body, but for us that is one body alone. Similarly, the whole world with myriad names and forms is nothing but the self alone. And towards that now examples are taken. Here he says, eyes are not very clear today. Ganga Ganga Page Vahi Vaho Ka Sindhu Honi Raho Pani Pana Kalao Kalavo Na Dekho Ki. Whether the Ganges flows as a river, Ganges as the river Ganges, or exists as a stable ocean, the waterness is not affected by river or ocean, because water as the substratum remains as water. Whether you call it a river, whether you call it a ocean, whether you call it a well, whether you call it a pond, whether you call it a lake, whether you call it a drop, whether you call it a stream, creek, whatever, it does not matter to the water, because water is water. whether the Ganges is flowing as a river or it has become one with the ocean. There is no difference so far as the essence water is connected. Another example, what is it? थिजावे की विघरावे हे अप्रयोज अप्रयोजक आघवे घृतपण नवे अनारी से. Whether the ghee, clarified butter, is in solid or melted form, it is not important because its essence, being ghee, does not change. Whether it is solidified or liquid does not matter. Third example, ज्वाला आणि वह्नी न लेखिजेती दोन्ही वन्ही मात्र म्हणवनी आन नव्हेची. The flame and the fire are fire alone and nothing else. Therefore, they are not considered as two. Whether it expresses as flame or not, in both places, the reality is the fire alone. The flame and the fire are never considered two. In this way, whether the truth is expressing as the seer and the seen, or not expressing at all, it makes no difference as far as the truth is concerned. This was what our meditation was today. The seer and seen. How to go beyond both. Seer and seen and their absence is all that is nothing but the truth alone. Whether the fire expresses as flame, a spark or a conflagration, whether the ghee is solid or liquid, whether Ganges is flowing or has become one with the ocean, it makes no difference to basic essential nature of the fire, the ghee and the water. In the same way, now it has to be applied on ourselves. In the same way, tai se drushya vaya vaya, what is that? Tai se drushya kam drashta या दोन्ही दशा वाजटा आहता एकी काष्ठा स्फूर्ति मात्र तो. Similarly, both seer and seen aspects are immaterial. If we are intensely aware, there is nothing but pure self. Just like flame and fire are one, similarly, seer and seen are also not separate. Whether the material that has gone into making the seer and seen is one and the same, just as the essence that has gone, that is in the fire and the flame, is one and the same. Whether the Paramatma Tattva, the Supreme I, is expressing as Drushya, the object, or Drashta, the subject, it has no meaning at all. The term Drashta has to be understood in two ways. The seer in relation to the seen, and B, the seer who is existing irrespective of the Drushya Padartha, meaning the seer existing irrespective of the presence of seen. From the point of view of the water, it makes no difference whether the ocean expresses as a wave or not. He is pure consciousness, irrespective of manifestation or no manifestation. When the creation attention is on the potentialities that one has, there is a possibility of an excessive identification with those potentialities. Example, potentiality of music, etc. And then they can become a bondage instead of an aid. This identification is called Jiva Bhava. It only leads to one's fall. Hmm? So, is it not our experience? What is our potentiality? What is our potentiality on a daily basis, which we know is expressing, but we are unnecessarily identified with it? Waker and a waking experience, dreamer and a dream experience, and the absence of the two, isn't it? This is a potentiality. Every day it is coming and going. Just like seer and seen, hearer and heard, thinker and thought, experiencer and experience, knower and known, they are coming and going. Isn't the waker? Can waker exist without the waking world? No. See? So be that one who is independent, transcendental to all comings and goings. Does it make any difference if that sleep is coming or waking is coming or dream is coming? You have just accepted it, isn't it? Every day this phenomena comes and goes. But we have given undue importance. Undue importance to what? To the waking plane. And as a result, we take this waking plane to be real. And all the misery is because of taking it to be more real than the dream. The Sat Vastu, when indicated along with reference to the infinite potentiality, Ananta, it is as if it has become consciousness. The Sat Vastu, the truth, when indicated along with reference to the infinite potentiality, Ananta, it is as if it has become consciousness. With relation. Just like man who is independent bachelor, when referred to with a wife, he is called husband. Similarly, this infinite reality that we are, when it is talked about with respect to the with respect to the potentiality called the mind, it is called consciousness. That's all. Understand this terminology. It does not stop at that. It becomes identified with one of the potentialities and becomes a jiva. The way out of this situation is to delink yourself from this identification with the potentiality and go back to the truth, Sadvastu. The ability to dissociate oneself from any undertaking without leaving a scar or suffering the pang of separation is the message that Krishna gives in chapter 2, chapter 5 of the Bhagavad Gita. He says, participation and withdrawal from the world are both essential. This freedom to participate and to withdraw is called Nishrayasa Prapti, the absolute good. So, out of your own choice, do not participate or withdraw. Let things happen. See, the waker is participating in the waking world, dreamer in the dream world, and in the deep sleep world, withdrawal is taking place. The waker also, for some reason, he gets involved in the waking world, and for some reason, he withdraws from the waking world, isn't it? Dreamer does the same. but we unnecessarily get disturbed and because of our identification. When, when we become free from this, then you know what normally happens? We are sitting in meditation. It was so beautiful. And after we come out of meditation, I want to linger in that zone, you know. I don't want to, don't disturb me, don't trouble me, don't talk to me. We are still in the memory. But what? Right now in meditation, you withdraw from everything. Next moment you are in the world, involved in everything, without getting attached. Then something has to be done, do that 100%. No question of pulling the previous event into the present. That is where the problem comes. We are sleeping and we want, now we have woken up to come. 5 minutes more, 2 minutes more in the bed, it's cold, no, little bit more. That's where the problem comes. We are eating food, we know, everyone knows when it is enough. But then, little bit more, little bit more, little bit more. We don't know where to stop. We keep getting identified. The parrot caught in the cage is fed well and he starts talking, singing, and expressing all his potentiality. That alone continues to keep him in bondage. So also the habit of identification with our potentiality as husband, father, etc. enslaves us to such an extent that even on the seat of meditation one becomes meditator and loses that effortless state of one's being. Expression of knowledge, when will it happen? I can sing, I can speak nicely, I can understand, I can stitch, I can sew, I can write poetry, I can write stories, I can act, I am a good social person, and everything is going perfectly all around. Why? Because you've got all this potentiality. That itself is a cage. Because you got identified to so many things. People praise you for everything that you have done. Get out of it. The more we identify with potentiality, the more we are trapped. Potentiality is the illusion. If it is expressing, let it express. But don't get identified with it. Don't feel that why it is going away. Oh, I want to take it with me wherever I go. It will be there, or if it is not there, don't worry. Sun doesn't say that I want to carry my heat and light with me, because it is his nature. Sun doesn't say that I want to carry the day with me, because from his point of view day doesn't exist, only he exists. But we, little bit extra we come to express in our life. We are able to speak a little bit better than others. We are able to have clarity about something. Immediately we become proud of it. We get, I'm cut above. We get identified. Bondage is identification. Just as the electric current is able to dissociate itself from the bulb in a fraction of a second. One should be able to dissociate oneself from one's potentiality at any moment. This is what this OV conveys. Whether one expresses as a drashta with reference to the drishya, or whether one is expressing as drashta with reference to both drashta and drishya, the waker and the waking world as the object of one's supreme subjectivity, the freedom is entirely one's own. See here, it's only in certain areas where we keep lingering. I'm looking at him. How much time is it taking me to withdraw from him and look at her? Nothing. Instantaneously. From her, I withdraw and come to the camera. Instantaneous. Then why does it take us so long to dissociate from the sleep and become awake? See? Why does it become so difficult for us to come out of meditation and become awake to whatever has to take place, is taking place? Sometimes when we are going, we like something so much when what we see, and we are unable to dissociate from it, and the car goes somewhere, accident. That's when accident happens, because you are not alert. See, but the truth is, you are in your daily life, except certain moments, naturally, continuously dissociating from everything, isn't it? But you choose, because of identification, sometimes you choose not to get dissociated, not to drop what you are seeing or hearing or touching or tasting or feeling or thinking, your concepts, ideas, whatever. Because you have suddenly given them importance. Here, whom are you giving importance? I look at him, I look at her, I look at you, I look at him, I look at her. There's so many things. Continuously, without any lingering, I'm moving, the sight is moving. It cannot apprehend anything else unless and until it has dropped the previous one. You cannot think another thought without having dropped the previous thought. Correct? It's a sequence. Thought is a sequence, isn't it? Until unless the previous thought is not dropped, until and unless the previous thought has not been dissociated with, given up, delinked, till then we cannot move to the next one. Till we have not dropped the yesterday, we cannot be in today. Till we will not drop today, we will not be in tomorrow. Till we do not drop the waker and the waking experience, we cannot go to dream or sleep, isn't it? This is all naturally happening. So this is one way of looking at that this is happening. Second way is that you are the seer. This is what we did in the meditation. You are the seer of both, the seer as well as the seen. You, just like right now you feel you are the waker, isn't it? All of you. You feel that you are the waker and this is the waking experience. But what about yesterday? Do you feel you are the waker yesterday? What is your experience? That I know the waker and the waking experience happened. I know the dreamer and the dream experience happened. And I know that both these experiences were absent also in sleep. Why did that? How is that statement possible for you at this moment about yesterday? Only because you were not attached to the waker or the waker experience. dreamer and the dream experience. That is why you can talk about it. Exactly the same is happening right now. The real you, the real seer, which is independent of the small seer and the seen, or the hearer and the heard, or experience and the experience. He is separate. That is why you are able to bring something that you have seen and it is stored in the mind, you are able to pull it out. You are separate to all this. Like the fire exists in an unmanifest state in the wood supporting the name and form, and when it becomes manifest, it destroys the same name and form. See? Like the fire exists in the wood, which has a name and form, and when invoked, it burns the same name and form. Exactly the same way. This truth, which is the substratum within us, as us, when it is invoked, our identification with the name and form will be annihilated, will be dissolved. How beautiful. In the same way, the drashta and drishya, the seer and the seen, are both supported by the Supreme I. The whole world is therefore nothing but my glory. Therefore, Krishna Bhagavan says, he who knows this truth, this unmanifest existence, wherein the Sad Vastu truth has no chit, that is no consciousness with reference to the Ananta, with reference to the infinite. When the becoming is reversed and being is maintained, this is the state of Sphurna, this is the state of the throb. Sphurna is the throb that is within every one of us. When you practice Kundalini or you practice Kriya Yoga, they catch this throb. And by remaining aware of this throb in your system, within you, the purification happens, and this throb is that ultimate. Takes you to the ultimate. I was present before the first letter of the first prayer was ever uttered, and I will continue to be after the last syllable has been said. The fire was there in the name and form of the wood, albeit unmanifest. When the wood is lighted, the fire becomes manifest, but the name and form of the wood has gone back into the fire. Similar, just like that, I continues to be present everywhere like an electric current, passing all along the line, but at the point it touches the bulb, the individuality is born. So the point where the pure consciousness touches the body, consciousness is born. Not pure consciousness. Pure consciousness touches the body. There the spark of individuality begins. And that spark of individuality is called consciousness, the limited I, the individuality, the mind. They are all synonyms. But at the point it touches the bulb, the individuality is born. The drashta and drishya, the seer and the seen, have no meaning, because what is meaningful is I, the pure consciousness alone, wherein the knower-known division has not taken place. So, can we have light in the bulb without electricity? No. Here, yes, electricity is separate and light bulb is separate. But consciousness and matter, the potentiality has come out of the pure consciousness alone. See? But the moment that identification takes place with, just like husband, man and woman have always been there. But the moment man gets identified with a woman, immediately husband is born. At that very moment, exactly the same way. The moment child is born, the mother is born. The moment we identify with the waking world, immediately the waker is born. Isn't it? So similarly, the pure consciousness, as if getting identified with the world, with the mind, at that very moment, life comes into existence, individuality comes into existence, the I comes into existence. Then is this I, is this individual real? Or is that infinite I the reality? Infinite I is the reality. Appearance of that infinite I as the individual is the phenomena, isn't it? Yeah? And who has all the problems? This individual. Even if you come to this individual as the phenomena, still it is okay, you will go beyond. But what happens to us is we don't even come to that individual. We are at the role level. Husband, wife, brother, sister. At that level, all the suffering is at that level. Subtler than that suffering is the suffering of the individual who is identified with the body, breath, mind, intellect. So both has to be dropped. Gaunatma, Mithyatma. Both have to be dropped. Then you have to recognize that you are the Mukhyatma. You are the being who is supporting all this coming and going. The thought is continued. ये स्फूर्ति कडुनी नाही स्फूर्ति मात्र वाचुनी तरी काय देखानी देखत असे. From the standpoint of consciousness, there is nothing other than consciousness. Then who has seen what? From the standpoint of consciousness, there is nothing other than consciousness. From the standpoint of water, there is nothing but water. From the water standpoint, there is nothing called wave. From the gold standpoint, there is nothing called ornaments. From the mud standpoint, there is nothing called mud pots. It's only mud, mud, mud. Then who has seen what? That is what is the question. So the moment a seeker comes to abide in his own being, then where is the question of becoming? No becoming. Then he doesn't see the mind as separate to him, he doesn't see the world as separate to him, he doesn't see the body as separate to him. Everything merges into one. From the standpoint of pure consciousness, other than the consciousness, nothing else is. That being so, who is the seer and what is the seen? From the viewpoint of pure consciousness, Sfurti Matra, never was there a seer, never was there a seen. This means that the world, the experiences of the world, and the experiencer does not merit even an iota of sympathy. In me alone, everything is born. In me alone, does everything exist, and in me alone, everything is dissolved. So says the Kaivalya Upanishad. Once this identification with our own essential being takes place, then Jnaneshwar Maharaj's word other than pure consciousness, nothing else is, becomes our very own understanding. See, even in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is showing to Arjuna the Vishwaroop Darshan, the cosmic form, and in that cosmic form, the entire creation is within him. The entire cosmos is not within him, is as him only. In the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says to Arjuna, the whole world is in me, I am in the whole world. Nay, neither the world is in me nor I am in the world, yet I am supporting the whole world and transcendental to the world. See, these are very, very potent declarations by the Lord or by the scriptures. You contemplate on them and have the courage to, not to be lost in the words, but what they are indicating. Put your attention on that. Mind will become silent. You will fall back into yourself. There and then you will fall back into yourself. When the seerhood is dropped with reference to any subject, with reference to any object of experience, one does not cease to be. One continues to watch the experiencer and experience without being serious about either. Non-serious becoming is unbecoming. Now think about it. In one moment, I just used these two words. I used these two words. Just take these two words. First, the thought, these came into your mind. Then you dissociated with that thought. Then there was a gap. Then the word two was created. Then there was a gap. And then the word was created, isn't it? So you know, because we are identified with the thoughts, so we continue thinking. But so many times between the words there is nobody. Do we feel our absence? We don't. See? So here the teacher is saying non-serious becoming is unbecoming. Meaning being. Don't take anything in this world too seriously. Neither that does not mean living a licentious life. That does not mean that. That does not mean don't take anything seriously, so I will indulge. That is not what is meant. Don't take the world seriously. Why? Because your focus is on the self. Your attention is on the total plan, the total blueprint. Once the drashta-drishya bheda duality, that is seer-seen duality, disappears, Advaita Siddhi, non-dual experience takes place. Hatred as an expression disappears because I cannot hate myself. Thus, one learns to see the world while not seeing it, just as one closes one's eye in the sanctum sanctorium before the Lord. Through such a technique of seeing without seeing, one has the Lord's darshan, vision in everything that is around. Jnaneshwar Maharaj, what is it? Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kinchit jagatyam jagata. When all non-essentials are discarded, then the essential presence becomes manifest for one's own cognition. When all non-essentials are discarded, meaning the total waking world, the dream world, and the deep sleep world. This is our experience. When we become indifferent to all these three, then alone the presence will reveal itself. As long as we have even an iota of identification, importance giving to any one of these three, till then self will not reveal itself, even though it is abundantly present, but it will not reveal to you, because you have forgotten that you are that essential, but you are making believe to yourself that you are the waker or the dreamer or the deep sleeper or the individual. In every experience, the Triputi is the non-essential. That means in every experience, the thought is the non-essential. Seer, seen, seeing, this is one Triputi. Triad. Hearer, heard, hearing, this is one triad. Experiencer, experienced, experiencing, this is one triad. This is the non-essential. Don't give it. Meaning what? Don't give too much importance to what you have seen, what you have heard, what you have tasted, what you have felt, what you have experienced, what is. Don't give too much importance. Yesterday we were talking about something and someone said, oh, love is when you. I asked someone, when do you feel like doing, when do you have that disposition to do something for another person? What is that disposition that the mother gives up her happiness, gives up her sleep, gives up her hunger, gives up her aspirations, and nurtures and nourishes that child? What is that which is making her do that? What is that? Prem, love. But how do you explain it? Love is not
No, I know what you mean.
kissing and hugging, no.
No,
But
no,
what?
prema.
But what is that? What is that disposition? That is the best way I can say, which is bringing that out of her. So many people are there, so many children are there, it doesn't happen. When you have accepted someone as I, when you have included someone in your self, then you start sacrificing for that person. When the husband accepts the wife as himself, or the wife accepts the husband as herself in the I, then automatically you will serve. Then you will not do 50-50. They'll never say, I clean this room, you clean that room. I take care of this child, you take care of that child. This is my account and that is your account. Every day, no checking the balance sheet. It's continuous sacrifice. It's continuous sharing. It's continuous doing more than what is expected by the other. If it is expectation, you are going the wrong way anyway. But it's every time it's a surprise that someone is doing something. Oh wow! Out of the blue. It is not for some reason. It is no, because you bought me something, so I will make you. I'll do this for you. No, not because of that. It's a spontaneous expression of love, and that love expresses as sacrifice, service, seva. That only happens when we include someone in us, isn't it? Mahatmas include the whole world in this eye, so they are able to serve. Parents are able to include only the children, but then they get identified. In every experience, where are we? In every experience, the triputi is the non-essential. It goes on changing, but the substratum supporting the triputi is the unchanging reality. Triputi is your experience. Seer, seen, seeing, hearer, heard, hearing, experiencer, experience, experiencing, knower, known, knowing, taster, tasted, tasting. They are continuously changing. But do you feel you are changing? All these faculties are changing, all these triputis are changing, the thoughts are changing, but you don't feel that you are changing. You are the knower. In your presence, all these changes are taking place. When we stand before the blazing sun and we close our eyes, in the darkness we struggle to see. Therefore, if Amrutanubhav is what one sincerely seeks, there is no choice except to drop the ajnana, ignorance, vision of ignorance of Triputi, of peering into darkness, and develop jnana drishti, looking towards our own essential nature. The more we work at the self, the eyes become closed. Lot of people have this when they are sitting in meditation, they are looking at empty space. They are looking at darkness. They are looking at void. You will not find an answer there. Sitting here and hoping to look at the empty room, dark room in the middle of the night and hoping that the light will come on, light will come on, light will reveal itself, I'm looking into the dark. Light will, it will not. Someone, you have to go and switch the on, the switch. On the seat of meditation, we are also waiting for revelation of the self. But our attention is outwards. And where is the light in the darkness? You are the light. Shift the attention to the self. Don't look at the darkness. Don't look at the ignorance. And what is the ignorance? The triputi. The thoughts are the ignorance. Don't try to find an answer through thoughts. It will take, you will be taken for a sixer. Don't look for answers, conclusive answers to your life do not lie at the realm of thoughts. Then where does it lie? In the being. Be that. Lord Krishna describes the state of seeing with closed eyes thus. The wise man is totally indifferent to the attractions of ordinary people, and that which is a matter of indifference to the ordinary person becomes a point of surrender for those sages who see. This comes in the second chapter, the last few verses in the second chapter. How a man of wisdom lives in this world is explained, and there it comes. This is an effortless expression of oneness. That is the spiritual vision. The ocean also expresses as movement in time, space, and object. So do the waves, but with this difference: in the former, it is an expression of Purnatva. The ocean is moving out of its fullness because it is feels it is complete, and out of that completeness comes joy, bliss. Out of bliss it is moving, and of fulfillment. In the latter, that is the waves, it is a movement of bondage, there is a fear of annihilation, there is the pain of birth. Same is our case. We cried when we were born and we'll cry when we are dying also, as the body, as the individual. So before, to get out of this, recognize that you are that infinite being. Truth is that which contains everything but is simple, empty of differences. Therefore, the vision of great masters is always from that height of the absolute, wherefrom both the miserable and the misery are just too insignificant. So, success, failure, hunger, thirst, comfort, discomfort, honor, insult, reality, non reality, identification, non identification, triputi, the triad, all this becomes insignificant. Just as for the sun, the appearance of day and night is not in its reality. For the sun, expression of heat and light is also not in its reality because it is its nature. He sees everything all the heat and light as itself. He cannot see it objectively. When we come to abide in our own being, the resultant is the whole world is seen as I without a thought, which in the devotional language, the gopis saw the whole world as Krishna, 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 Krishna. See? In this way, the thought continues. If other than the Paramatma nothing else is, what then is the position of the manifested world? Is it an illusion or a reality? This subject is now taken up, and we will see this subject in our next class. ॐ पूर्णमदा पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ